Hi guys, this week I'm going to talk about something I've been in blissful denial of the past week, which is the How I Met Your Mother finale. So it was about a week ago today, and I've mostly been just trying to pretend that it didn't happen, but I think it's time to maybe talk about it. I've shared some thoughts with Sarah and Rachel, but I haven't quite rationalised it all yet, but I thought I would try to do that here, try and put into some sort of cohesive, coherent thing why I hated the How I Met Your Mother finale. So for anyone who doesn't know, the 9th and final season of How I Met Your Mother ended last week with what I think is the worst finale of a show ever. I cry at finales of pretty much anything. I have never not cried at a series finale that I have watched until now. So let's talk about why it was so awful. I've tried to put my main problems into 5 points. The first point is Barney Stinson. They demolish 9 years of character development, character growth, what made Barney so lovable. And I feel so sorry for Neil Patrick Harris because he could have had this great legacy of having this great character and they just squashed it right at the end. He suddenly became this philanderer with no heart until he had a kid, which suddenly gave his life meaning and filled him with love and joy, and that brings me to issue number 2. A lot of things and people suddenly became plot devices in the season finale. Barney had children, it made him happy. The one thing that Robin couldn't give him was the one thing that fulfilled his life. And it seemed, in that point, like Robin's infertility, which I thought was quite a good episode. It was definitely kind of powerful. It was just, there was kind of no point to it anymore. And this also kind of factored into the second major plot device twist, I guess. The mother became little more than a plot device in the end. She became the way for Ted Mosby to get the children that he wanted and then still end up with Robin. Another thing, Ted ending up with Robin. This whole bit brings me nicely into my major issue number 3. Barney and Robin's divorce. Now fine, people get divorced. I know that, you know that, we all know that. People get divorced. It happens. It doesn't have to happen here. There's no reason for it to happen here. We've spent a good few seasons building up this Barney and Robin relationship. We spent a whole season on their wedding. And you're telling me that they can't spend more than a minute on their divorce, if it had to happen at all? There was so little explanation, it was so just thrown in there. Everything in this episode, or these 2 episodes, it was a 2-part, it was just thrown in there. They were trying to fit as much in as possible, and it just was a mess. And nothing had the time that it needed, including the mother's death. How I Met Your Mother, the kind of main point of the show, her death was like, oh yeah, and then your mum died. I was okay with the mother dying. We'd seen like hints to it earlier, and it made sense as to why these kids would sit through such a long and oftentimes tedious and boring story. But for the story to actually be, oh yeah, I'm actually in love with Aunt Robin, no. Ted and Robin broke up at the end of season 2, just to put this into perspective. I'm not saying by any means that their relationship or their story ended at the end of season 2, but that is when they broke up. And in the last season alone, we had at least 2 episodes that show Ted, theoretically, getting over Robin. And yet, here we are, pretending that none of that has happened. It just makes no narrative sense to build up this Barney-Robin relationship, put aside, with respect, this Ted and Robin relationship, just to reverse it all at the last minute. So that's kind of my 4th point, is that there was so much narrative reversal, that's not a phrase, but I'm making it a phrase, of this Barney Robin, Ted Robin, just all these diversions from the narrative they've been taking and the narrative that people have been enjoying. Point number 5. The writers have claimed that the reason they did this finale is kind of, it's realistic. I don't think there's anyone in the world who sits down in front of How I Met Your Mother and thinks, I just really want to see some reality. That's not what we want. We want these characters to be happy. We want to see their friendship. We want to laugh. And really what How I Met Your Mother has been good at for the past few years is not the laughs, but it's been these relationships, the bonds. It really beautifully portrayed friendship. But all that was gone. We're meant to believe that these 5 people who have been almost inseparable for the past 9 years can't keep in touch. In the 21st century, where you've got Facebook and email and texts, you know, it doesn't take that much to stay in touch with each other. Yet we're meant to believe that Lily doesn't make sure Robin stays in touch with her. That's not why we watch How I Met Your Mother. We don't watch it for realism. Don't give us realism in the finale when you haven't given us realism up to this point. It just makes no sense. So yeah, those are kind of the rundown of my thoughts on why the How I Met Your Mother finale sucked. It wasn't that eloquent. It turns out I can't be eloquent about it because I'm still just mad. I think there's a lot to be said for just happy endings in a show like this. You've got to tailor your finales to the rest of your show. You can't just go a completely different way at the last hurdle as if you just regret everything you've done. There are definitely a lot more eloquent criticisms of this finale out there. I've read some posts, maybe I'll try and link some things below, but a post about how it shows a lot about what the writers think of their female characters, that Robin, who has been up to this point a career woman who didn't want children, who didn't want a family, who really wanted her career, in the end the thing that she seems to really want is Ted, not her career. Her career seems belittled right at the end. Lily didn't get anything. The mother is killed. The mother of Barney's child doesn't even get a name. So that was interesting. There's a lot of stuff out there. If you still are as angry as me, read it, or live in denial, which I find works too. Okay, so thanks for letting me rant to you in a not massively coherent way, and until next week, bye! Also, yes, I have new glasses. What are your thoughts?